the best price. Don't miss your chance to save 25% off your purchase. Plus, enjoy flexible financing options. Every roll wins real savings. Roll the dice for the best price. Right now only at Ranger and Tupelo.
At First Choice Bank, we know you can't always make it before the bank closes. With our integrated teller, you can talk to a live person as late as 7 p.m. on weekdays and noon on Saturdays. It's not just an ATM, it's an ITM. First Choice Bank, your choice for banking.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 6.
Welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 6. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lopon on this Tuesday, a beautiful day, and we are likely going to be looking even nicer over the next couple of days. I mean, assuming clear and dry is what you want. If you need rainfall, a lot of us do, because unfortunately those burn bans continue to expand, including to Lafayette County now, among many others. Well, we are looking warmer and relatively dry for this work week. There are some better rain chances eventually, but warmer is where we're going for now. I think the extended forecast, we're going to look not just 7 days, but 10 to 14 days out on some of those rain chances, and when that pattern could shift somewhat more. That's coming up here on Mississippi Live Weather here in a couple of minutes. Our SEC and Game of the Week updates, including voting on that Game of the Week. We'll check in with our meteorologist Gabe Mader on that. A lot of votes cast so far on that one. Excited to see where we might be going. We'll have that, and hopefully a look at how things are going up there in space from the crew of Artemis. We're looking at 70, though, right back here in North Mississippi for that temperature at 7 p.m. We're 60 by 10, 55 by 1 o'clock in the morning, and heading into the upper 40s by early Wednesday morning under some light winds. It'll be slightly milder than it was for today for early tomorrow. And we expect that we'll gradually, I think, keep warming things up day by day going forward. Could use some rain to wash off whatever cobweb that is there. Can appreciate the North Mississippi Storm Chasers for this camera that we're utilizing there. High thin clouds in the Ackerman area, 75 and a little bit breezy. That dew point there remains low, a sign that we do obviously continue to have elevated fire danger because of that. Caledonia, we're 77 at this hour. Winds north and east at 14 miles per hour. High thin clouds down there in Lowndes County and coming in 73 in Pontotoc. More and more green starting to show up in those deciduous trees as we look toward the horizon there. And again, dry and breezy, all locations. We're 78 right now, Belzona, 75 degrees, Water Valley, Bruce, and Houston. Normal this time of year should be somewhere low 70s, and we're pretty close to that for high temperatures this afternoon. Checking out the latest here on Mama Justice Doppler radar. We have all the sweeps on there, only detecting bugs and things like that on kind of the close shot here all across the region. Nothing but what we would refer to as clear air returns, as we are dry and clear other than some high and thin clouds. Next storm system of note, long ways away from us. You can see it kind of back up to the northwest there, practically Billings, Montana. We're looking about 1,300 miles away, so a long time before that gets down and in here. And so our pattern largely remains relatively dry the next few days because of that high and thin clouds. Now, notice how widespread these are. They make it look like we're going to have a lot of cloud cover. And yeah, that thin stuff, but no precipitation really coming from that. You can see our nearest rainfall even at 10 p.m. tonight. We show some sprinkles down there toward Texas, so still more than 300 miles away. So we are dry. A sign, again, that we don't have a lot of moisture out there is when you look at the wind direction. Notice how our wind direction continues kind of out of the east, this kind of northeast sort of direction. What do we have back that way? We have a lot of land, right? So this is dry air, and that's what, again, many factors that are working for the elevated fire danger. That dry air and the breezy conditions helping us out. But I think as those winds decouple and calm down overnight, that should allow us to probably drop into the upper 40s by early tomorrow. But not a speck of rainfall anywhere across the Magnolia State from north to south to start off your Wednesday morning. Under, again, mostly cloudy skies through midday and even into the afternoon. You'll notice a bit of that cloud cover sticking around. We'll be 57 by 9 a.m. That's after starting off at 49 degrees, so probably light jacket necessary depending on how early you're out there. 57.9, 72 by around noontime, 77 for a high tomorrow afternoon. Back up above normal. Nowhere near records, which would be about 10 degrees to almost 15 degrees above where we're going to be for a high tomorrow. 76 still at 6 p.m. and 65 look toward 9. Wall-to-wall dry, though, on your Wednesday, largely Thursday, probably heading into this upcoming weekend looking similar to that. But we are seeing a transition back to considerably warmer and better chances for rainfall in the extended forecast. Now, we see some in the 7-day, but we got to go a little bit beyond that. We're looking at that long-range forecast, breaking down your SEC baseball forecasts and checking out on the game of the week voting as well as Mississippi Live Weather continues here from the Room to Room Weather Center in 60 seconds.
After a storm, the damage is not always obvious. And if it's not documented correctly, it can cost you. With a decade of experience, we know exactly what to look for. We handle the inspection, claim support, and the roof. Storm season is coming. Make sure you have absolute restoration on your side.
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
This portion of Mississippi Live Weather is presented by Little's Jewelers.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lobhon.
Welcome back to Mississippi Live Weather at 6. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon. It is warmer today, not as much of a change as locations back to the south and east, 15 to almost 20 degrees above where they were yesterday at this time. A transition that will continue the next few days as we continue to heat things up a bit. When you don't have any precipitation, no strong fronts, those things kind of working together to ensure that transition toward warmer and drier weather. Look at the almanac for today, 74 the high temperature. That's after starting off 44, and that's a pretty decent swing. Anytime we're 30 degrees or more on that temperature swing, you know we have dry air, nowhere near records, and putting us just a little bit outside of those averages. Still awaiting, hopefully, some better rain chances ahead, but none of those impacting Ole Miss and Alcorn State. This evening, we're looking at, again, first pitch at 6:30. We're 72 first pitch there in the Oxford area. 64 as we look toward the fourth inning, and 59 by the conclusion of the game for this evening. And we appreciate Carl Hogan Toyota for sponsoring our SEC baseball forecast. We're 75 for that first pitch in Starkville. That occurring just moments ago. 68 as they take on UAB in the fourth inning, and 61 by the conclusion. So light jacket weather this evening there as well under these mostly clear skies. Looking at that mostly clear sky, good example of what that looks like outside right now, coming in from the Starkville area as we look on the west side of town toward the high and thin clouds back toward the west. That kind of north and east wind, making sure that air remains dry, and that dry air thus keeps the humidity low and allows us to again drop back into the 40s by early tomorrow morning. We check out our camera in West Point. Again, clear as far as the eye can see down low, high and thin clouds made up of ice crystals, no meaningful moisture there. And because of that, unfortunately, one of the next big things we continue to track is the dry weather. And burn bands expanded now to include Lafayette County, Bowmore. The emergency management folks out there messaged me a little bit earlier this afternoon mentioning, hey, we're now under a burn ban. Lee County, Clay County, we were looking a moment ago there under a burn ban. So unfortunately, the number of counties continue to increase, and especially in ice zones, the ice storm zone up here north and west, where we just have so much available debris that exacerbates some of the issues, unfortunately, with a few spots down in central Mississippi, also under burn bans at this point and time. So where do we go from here? Precipitation, when we look beyond the 7-day forecast, in that April 13th to 17th time period, that's where we start to see a little bit of green showing up on our map here on the wider shot, showing that really the central U.S. in the zone, especially next week, for a sustained upper level pattern. We showed you with the crossover at 5 o'clock how that pattern really lines up a lot of storm chances on the plains. That's where this chance comes in. We're more on the fringe of that on the east side. And you go beyond that, April 15th to the 21st, locations to the west, much more likely to be above normal on precipitation. And that means normal. If we could at least get the normal, we typically do see it this time of year. We just haven't been getting great chances. So getting to normal would actually be an improvement for us. And temperature-wise, as you can see here, this is where we kind of work in the opposite direction when we're well above normal. And we will be looking in that 10 to 14 day time period. That is an indication that we are going to be baking out more moisture as well. So we're not putting in enough. Above normal temperatures, that just means drought conditions, unfortunately, will continue to get worse, because on the wide shot here, there's nothing out there significant to really kind of help us out as far as tonight is concerned, or really the next couple of days. Futurecast keeping us dry into this evening. You look at the dots there, you can see kind of that northeast sort of breeze coming in. That, again, dry air. And that, in a lot of ways, is what keeps us, again, cool for early tomorrow morning. Wednesday starting off with mostly cloudy skies, but we're dry, and about 55 in Greenwood, 53 degrees Clarksdale, 54 for Cleveland, and 55 Belzona, 50 in Tupelo, and yes, some 40s for Red Bay, 48 in Red Bay, 49 Iuka, and 48 degrees in Corinth and Boonville to start the day. Your IMPC school bus forecast. As they head out, again, this is a day of contrast. Once again, almost a 30-degree temperature swing. And when it's that big of a change, yeah, they probably need the jacket early as they're waiting out there for the school bus. But don't be shocked if they're dragging it behind them as they get off of it tomorrow maybe that's not a thing people do. But my mom just loves to tell the story that when I, walking home from school, doing that whole thing, I'd be dragging the new jacket. And hopefully yours doesn't do that. Mine do. But anyway, tomorrow's a day where they will be doing that. As we check out Futurecast here, you can see that for Wednesday, we'll have, again, those southeast winds. Lots of cloud cover out there. I think that helps it to feel a little cool to begin the day. As we go throughout, we're looking, again, mostly cloudy skies here, 2, 3, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but mainly high and mid-level clouds as opposed to kind of the low clouds. And so that keeps those temperatures still milder than they would be if we had completely sunny skies. It'd be a little toastier. We're looking at 77 in New Albany, 79 degrees in Houston and Amory, coming in 77 Starkville, and 76 degrees in Macon, 79 Greenwood, as well as Belzona. Normal should be around 73, so running a bit above that. So as we look at Futurecast here, we're looking at 9 p.m. tomorrow night, mostly cleared and dry conditions across the region. Our winds back more to the southeast, but that only tells part of the story, because we need to get those southeast winds if we're going to start talking about a little more moisture. But notice how it's southeast here, but you kind of look down there at South Alabama, still out of the northeast. So a sign that even if our winds start to shift, it's going to take a little more time for that moisture to start coming back. So mid-50s for Thursday morning to begin the day, to maybe some low 50s out here, Iuka, back toward around Red Bay and Soligent, Alabama. So those winds, again, south and east, that's an encouraging trend toward better chances for moisture, though we're keeping it dry. We'll look at Thursday, noon to 1 to 2 o'clock. Do have some rain chances. If we go just a little wider here, you can sort of see back out here toward Springfield, Missouri, out this direction up to the north and east. But notice how our front here is not moving. We call this a stationary front because you see how you have the red and the blue. Essentially what's going on with this is you have the warmer air that's kind of going through our area here. It's heading northward. And so those reds indicate the red, the red air, the warmer air trying to go north, but then that's almost equally balanced with the cold air trying to come out of the north. And so that gets it stalled where it doesn't really move much. And so the pattern, because of that, not a lot of changes. So that means day to day, typically in this scenario, when the sun gets to have its way, we warm up. So 73 where we should be. We'll be around 80 in Greenwood and Grenada for highs on Thursday. We're going 76, Tupelo, 77 degrees in Amory. Vernon coming around 80 degrees, 79 for Starkville and for the Columbus area. And looking toward, I think, a big weekend here of festivals. Again, we do have the pilgrimage, I believe, going on down in Aberdeen as well as down in the Columbus area, Railroad Festival in Amory. And, make sure you have that Mississippi Live Weather app. It'll help let you know if there's any issues out there. Though, it'd be, severe clear weather this weekend. No severe weather to speak of, as we're mostly sunny all 3 days. Around 80 the high temperature on Friday, 83 for Saturday, 85 Sunday there in Amory. Enough sunshine that hopefully the vendors there have those tents out and ready to go. And certainly you and I need to make sure we have that sunscreen ready to go, because it is going to be very, very nice weather for that Not that the folks in Amory can complain at all in that regard. We're 77 in Wednesday, 76 degrees Thursday, 80 as we look toward Friday. And again, those mid-80s on the way for this upcoming weekend, putting us above our normal for this time of the year. Looking at low temperatures, always kind of a sign of, do we have enough moisture for storms? We start getting the 60s, those chances start to come up a little bit. And the first of those probably arriving by maybe Monday, arguably Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. And it really will depend on how our system back toward the west ejects, how it kind of kicks out and tries to throw more energy our direction. As we talked about at 5 o'clock, looking at the crossover there, we don't have high confidence level of that really getting all the way in here by the middle of the week, maybe late next week or even the weekend after that before we really start to change things. So for April, knock on wood, this is about as kind as Mother Nature ever is to us. After the break, we will be looking with our meteorologist Gabe Maynor at the Game of the Week voting, which is a really hotly contested contest, I guess. And we'll also look at how things are going with the Artemis mission and answer some of your questions as Mississippi Live Weather continues here from the Room to Room Weather Center in 60 seconds.
1 in 10 kids vape. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes.
The Health Class Film Guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Talk to your child about vaping today.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depression stuff.
You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
We can see the lowering. We're going to have a good shot at that as it approaches the Rienzi area. Tornado warning now issued. We'll do a push alert behind the scenes for folks here, up here in Alcorn County. Rotation on this thunderstorm increasing to the point back into Tippah County as well, where the National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning for your locations. Again, dry for your Wednesday and a large chunk of the extended forecast. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lopon. You're watching Mississippi Live Weather here at 6 p.m. If you missed it, we're looking at excellent weather for the Railroad Festival this weekend, for Mississippi State and Ole Miss tonight, and even I think their weekend forecast for some of the games that we have ahead there. 7-day forecast has us 76 for Thursday, 80 degrees by Friday, 83 as we look towards Saturday, and building those temperatures a lot more into this upcoming weekend under what should be, again, mostly clear and mostly sunny skies. Next, meaningful rain chances could be in the distant extended forecast, and to a certain extent, we owe that to our overall pattern here with the jet stream. So on the wide shot here, the jet stream is a river, is fast-moving air in the upper levels of the atmosphere that kind of dictates everything that goes on here. We look for big dips, and while we have a little dip, we don't really have a lot of energy with that one over top of us. So the next few days, we're going to probably keep things pretty tranquil. I mean, you can see here, we're looking at now Friday into Saturday, not really much in the way of meaningful rainfall. We do depict that with the greens there behind this. Next real storm system that gets a little more serious, that tries to get close to us, all the way still out there toward the Pacific coast. And while I think there's one wave that'll move through as we go into your Saturday and try to bring more active weather by Sunday to locations back there into Texas. Watch how as that trying to get closer to us, maybe some rain and storm chances in northwest Mississippi as we look into Monday, but still mainly back into Texas as this wave tries to kick out a little more energy. Most of that still even into Tuesday, back into Texas, back out into the Midwest. And it probably takes until next Wednesday before I can start to make some arguments. Maybe we have a good enough dip to bring us more rain chances, maybe some storm chances. But even those look focused back to the north and west as we look to even Thursday of next week, maybe even Friday. Now, it would not take a huge shift in this pattern for things to get more aligned to us. And while it's probably less likely to be severe weather, not impossible though, as we look toward Friday of next week into Saturday of next week, we find ourselves in zonal flow aloft, but ample moisture from the Gulf, and that'll give us some rain chances there by that point. So while this coming weekend is looking completely dry, by the weekend after that, things could start to get a little bit more active. We'll see as far as significant storm chances, severe weather chances are concerned. Thankfully, don't have a lot of chances in this pattern for us. The plains, different story. But for us, I mean, we're looking all the way here, as you can see, to the latter part of this month, April 22nd there, and not showing a ton in that regard. But that does mean it's good for all of our outdoor activities. That's where we bring in our meteorologist, Gabe Maynor here. One of the things that Gabe has been looking at, again, is our game of the week. And Gabe, voting on that has been very hotly contested, has it not?
A big time. We're talking 46% for Moorville facing Mantachie in Mantachie and Choctaw County at Nettleton. So, I mean, it's Lee County centric for our game of the week, and we will be heading to a Lee County school. Which school is up to you? So Tupelo, Nettleton, Mantachie, we'll have those details coming up later on tonight at 10 of who comes out on top. But if you've not voted, every vote matters. So get in there, get to the poll, and make sure to make your submission. Now, one thing that Ethan was talking about is this is also a hot poll, being the fact that we're having a ton of votes. I mean, we're looking at, if I can do my mental math here real quick, and unfortunately it doesn't look, okay, there we go. So this is around 2,400 votes so far on our Game of the Week poll. So again, get out there and vote. We definitely need all of those, especially between these top two. I mean, we're talking 1,027 and 897. That's 130 votes.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a ton. That's not a ton. That can definitely make a difference. So, Matt,
so
excited.
9 at 10 is when we make that announcement. So, you have to get those votes in, because it's been pretty clear cut where some of these have gone recently. This one could still swing in Nettleton's favor. We'll see.
We shall, and it's going to be also baseball, softball, because as you see the top game there, that's going to be softball at Mantachie or baseball in Nettleton. So we also have a battle between the boys and the girls too, of which game we're going to be covering.
Softball has won those head-to-heads more often than not this year. It really has.
And it's given us some of the best games we've had all year long. So the girls showing up and showing out, and we'll definitely take it for our game of the week. Matt, before I toss it back to you here real quick, I do want to say also that I was able to go talk to some students out in Boonville today, and I did get some video that I wanted to show off. I told them that I'd give them a little shout out. So as we pull up that video, this is some of our classroom connections that we're making with Miss Harris's 8th grade class. You can see all the different classes right there. But we also got to play a fun game talking tornadoes, talking severe weather, even some of the natural hazards, and we got to play a game where they got to be the meteorologist and rate the tornado damage. So you can see some of the podium right there. No, that is not me, I promise. This is another Gabe Maynor that they used my name. I don't know why, but I was honored because they did place on the podium and had lots of winners. Lots of people knew their stuff. And Matt, honestly, the cool thing about it was the fact that I think we might have some potential meteorologists heading into the near future. So shout out Miss Harris's 8th grade class. Really appreciate them having me, and excited to get out there sometime again soon. This is now 2 years running, but I always have a heart for Boonville because, as you know, Miss Maynor is there, and she got to hang out with us too. So it was a great time in the classroom, making another classroom connection.
Okay, let's talk about Artemis. Did you have a chance to kind of get some stuff off on that? Because obviously yesterday, one of the cool things, setting a record for the farthest distance a human has ever gone away from planet Earth. And today on the return trip.
Yeah, it was unreal. Here, I'm getting some photos up behind the scenes. So let me toss this back. And if you want to take me full, you can. But this is a look at a lunar eclipse, but that has a totally different meaning. It's an eclipse that's able to be seen from the moon, of the Earth being covered. So a really unique view, the furthest that we have ever been at as mankind, and you can just see what's happening out there. This is just such a cool shot. I mean, the clearness of the craters as well. And also a big shout out because one of the astronauts actually named one of the craters after his late wife. So, already exploring, already seeing some of the magnificent shots out there. That is just insane that we have that clear of an image now from our moon, Matt. And we've not fully made that trip back. I believe they made their way around the moon to where it was, the lack of communication, where they didn't have any communication with us here on Earth. They've now made their way around, and hopefully that return trip is happening here soon.
Yeah, it is. And, that naming by the Canadian astronaut for one of the American astronaut, Wiseman's, late wife, just an incredibly kind of cool little experience there. So excited to get some of these pictures. I know they've taken a zillion more pictures, and we'll be showing those hopefully to you over the course of the next upcoming months. Appreciate that, Gabe. Anything else you want to add before we wrap things up?
One small step for man, one giant step for mankind. Are we able to say that with this mission too?
Well, I mean, it's certainly the slingshot that went a long ways away, that's for sure. And, going to the moon is the stepping stone to then heading, literally considering it's just giant rock, to heading to Mars someday and further deep space exploration. So kind of cool that we're living in times that our kids will talk about someday. So anyway, appreciate that, Gabe. And you can, of course, join the conversation with us anytime on Facebook, on YouTube, and of course, right here, our live broadcasts, 5, 6, 9, and 10. That 9 o'clock show is a new one here that we added last week. Hopefully more available for you to be able to check out good and earlier in the evening. Gabe will be looking at that extended forecast, any changes there coming up on Mississippi Live Weather at 9 and 10 p.m. here in the Room Weather Center. And then Maggie gets you out the door with the latest at 6:30, 7, and 7:30 a.m. here on Mississippi Live Weather. Thank you so much for your support. We'll talk to y'all soon.
March 24th, 2023 was a normal Friday. You know, we knew the weather was not good, but we needed to take shelter, and we didn't have shelter. My husband and almost 2-year-old daughter, Ethan and Riley, they did lose their lives in the storm. We're still recovering from it. We'll always be recovering from it. Matt Lawpon cares about the community. He's not just there to collect a paycheck. I feel like Matt Lawpon has proven himself trustworthy